Good morning. Please pray with me. O Lord, our God, we gather this morning in a world filled with crises, a national pandemic, wildfires, tropical storms, civil unrest, and a polarized society. We only have to look at our immediate surroundings to know things are very different. We are thankful for the accomplishments of our graduating seniors, for family, friends, and peers who supported their students on this journey, for faculty and staff who invested in these students, always challenging them to think critically and to make our world a better place. We know that these students made Jewell a better place by being here. This ceremony marks a threshold from one time of life to another, saying on the one side of the threshold, well done, and on the other side of the threshold, do well. Let us resolve that we will not leave the world as it was delivered to us, but that with hearts for goodness, minds for creative solutions, and wills for justice, we will make a world that includes all, provides for all, cares for all, and asks from all a full measure of commitment to the common good. Amen.
You may be seated. Good morning, everyone. I am Elizabeth McLeod-Walls, and I have the privilege of serving as the 15th president of William Jewell College. On behalf of the entire Jewell community, I welcome the class of 2020 and our Jewell families for this long-awaited graduation convocation. I want to thank the Reverend Dr. Andrew Pratt, Special Counsel to the President for Diversity and Inclusion and Dean Emeritus of the Chapel, for offering our invocation today. Trustee Emeritus Julius Anderson had an unexpected situation arise and could not be with us this morning, but I know he's thinking of us today. Graduates, we celebrate you today because you have navigated the most unusual academic year in Jewell's history with resilience and creativity. Your last semester ended abruptly. You completed your college experience on a screen instead of on the hill, but you persevered through Zoom classes and virtual assignments. You stayed on task, and your seat here today is well earned. We celebrate you today because as dynamic thinkers, you are prepared to help address important issues and tackle big problems. You have been part of an engaged and caring community on the Hill. And now you are pursuing lives of purpose and meaning in the workforce and in graduate school. The world needs thinkers and doers. The world needs you, and we know you are ready. Finally, and on a personal note, I celebrate you because you are my class. We arrived on the Hill together in 2016. I have been waiting 4 years to watch you walk across this stage, and I could not be more proud of those of you who are here with us today and those of you who could not be here in person, because you have responded to an unscripted moment in history by writing your own story, and I cannot wait to see where your stories lead. You will always be my class, but much more importantly, you will be the class that showed grace and wisdom, indeed, who practiced critical thinking at its best during exceptional times. You have my fervent and heartfelt congratulations, class of 2020.
Good morning. I'm Ann Dima, Provost of the college. The value of the superior education experienced by our graduates is built upon the strength of the college faculty. As teachers, scholars, mentors, and collaborators, they led our graduates to this defining moment and prepared them for their pursuit to lead and serve. Each year, the college recognizes exemplary contributions of particular faculty members. One such recognition is the awarding of the Carl F. Willard Distinguished Teacher Award, a tradition dating back to 1992 to recognize outstanding teaching in the classroom. Faculty members nominate their peers, with the president and the provost making the final selection. This year, I am pleased to share that the recipient is Dr. Ron Witzke, a longtime professor of the Department of Music. While Dr. Witzke is not with us in person today, will you still join me in celebrating this recognition with applause? The entire body of faculty at Jewell demonstrates passion for teaching and scholarship, and a passion for helping students succeed. We also have sincere compassion and empathy for how your final semester at Jewell occurred. We missed you. We care deeply about each of you and have confidence that you will use this experience and the knowledge you have gained over your time at Jewell to find fulfillment in your personal and professional journeys. Graduates and guests, while our faculty cannot be with us today, they are deserving of our recognition. Will you join me in showing our gratitude for the difference they have made in the lives of these graduates?
I am honored to welcome this year's commencement speaker, Karen Daniel. Although her calendar doesn't look like that of a retiree, she did in fact retire from her full-time career in 2018 as Executive Director, Chief Financial Officer, and President of the Global Finance and Technology Solutions Division of Black & Veatch. With both a bachelor's and a master's degree in accounting, Karen started her career at KPMG before joining Black & Veatch, where she held several senior leadership positions and ultimately was admitted to the partnership. Karen is also someone I admire deeply, for she is devoted to helping Kansas City thrive. She has served on the boards of Commerce Bankshares, Snap-on Incorporated, Livongo Health, Greater Kansas City Community Foundation, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Karen was the first African-American woman to serve as the chair of the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. And, capping a lifelong commitment to service, in 2015, she was named vice chair for President Obama's advisory board on doing business in Africa. Karen Daniel believes that every person deserves a quality, affordable education. For this reason, she has served on several boards at her undergraduate beloved alma mater, Northwest Missouri State University. And this summer, she established the Karen Daniel Legacy Fund to create a cultural center, fund scholarships for Black students, and support diversity and inclusion initiatives at the university. For these and so many reasons, William Jewell is proud to call Karen Daniel a dear friend. And in 2018, the college awarded her with a William Yates Medallion for Distinguished Service for her selfless leadership. We are honored to have Karen Daniel back again today, and I cannot imagine a more insightful individual to address our class of 2020, for she is the unique and impactful leader that this moment in our history requires. Fellow Cardinals, please join me in welcoming Karen Daniel.
Oh, I do have my glasses. Okay. Had to take them off several times this morning. Good morning to everyone. Special congratulatory message to the graduates. Must be an amazing day for you all. Your accomplishment is one that you will lean on and use as you make your way forward. I am here representing our community, Kansas City, and the work that we'd like to get done to put Kansas City in its rightful place as one of the best cities to live in our entire nation. And we're going to continue to work on that. I'm also here because I want to represent my family and share with you why I believe big dreams can come true. We can make what seems impossible possible. And in doing that, I'd like for you to think about the role as graduates from William Jewell, the School of Critical Thinking, how you will use your critical thinking and your giving heart to make your lives better, your family's lives, William Jewell, our community here regionally, and the United States, especially given this time that we are in. So a little bit about my story. My story is one that started many years ago, we'll just say 60 or more years ago. But what's really important about my story is in my childhood, like all of the rest of us, we get so many bits and pieces that ultimately become our foundation. My beginning was right off of just about 39th and Prospect. And I grew up in the inner city there for a good bit of our time. And that experience was also assisted by looking at what was going on around us. I had great parents who were extremely encouraging, expected us to excel, grandmother that was a school teacher. But around me, by the time I was 10 years old, I'll never forget the image of my mother ironing our dad's uniform, watching JFK's funeral on the television. That was when I was almost 6. By the time I was 10, Martin Luther King had been assassinated, followed shortly thereafter by Bobby Kennedy. And as a 10-year-old, I thought to myself, really? This is what we do when we disagree? We kill each other? We assassinate one another? There must be a better way. And I went about that path trying to really understand what is the better way. Another input, when I was in the 2nd and 3rd grade, my siblings and I have 2 wonderful sisters and 2 brothers. We were bused to Hell Cook Elementary School as part of the desegregation effort, an all-white school. And that experience also did 2 things for me. It says, don't let a situation that seems to marginalize you hold you down. There's always someone looking who's willing to mentor. But it also solidified in my mind, education is the way forward. And so always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about education. So education becomes the foundation along with my family, and I go off to college. I was asked, are you going to go to college? And I wanted to be a teacher because my grandmother was. But much like this environment, great advisors said that's really not going to work out for you so well. You don't have the temperament to teach 2nd graders. It's just not going to work out for you, okay? So I went to Northwest and I chose to major in business with the idea that I'd have options and I could have some of the dreams going on in my head materialize and give back. So I went to Northwest, and the experience at Northwest, while it is my dear alma mater, being there in the mid-70s was difficult. There were only 100 African American students when I started. When I graduated 4 years later, there were only 50 of us. It was a challenge, but it was one that I would not give up on, and I didn't, and I continued on. I left Northwest Missouri State, still determined to be a teacher. My advisor, Johnny Imes, told me again, it's not going to work out for you. So she told me, you should go to UMKC in Kansas City, get a master's degree. And if you keep insisting on this teaching, you can at least teach college, because second graders are just not going to work out. So I did. I went to UMKC, and that eventually led me to KPMG. And at KPMG, I had more mentors, but I also learned that I could teach in the classroom. And I did 11 years at KPMG, and I decided it was time to be audited rather than be the auditor. And I made the decision with great angst to go into a field that at the time had very, very few women and had hardly any Black women, not to mention in the role that I would eventually assume. But Black & Veatch provided a great career for me, and it helped me put the next level of this foundation in place. Shortly after I was there, I went to a leadership development class, and they asked us to develop a mission statement. And I was 34 years old then, and I'm proud to tell you that it's still my mission statement. And it is to make a difference in the lives of others through living my life with integrity, compassion, and generosity. And it remains who I am, and education remains my North Star. So I went to Black & Veatch. Everything was well. My grandfather, Grandpa Daniel, died 1 month before I joined Black & Veatch. And Grandpa did a lot of amazing things in his life. He took the family to Africa to start a fire department. When my dad was only 16 years old, they lived there for a year. They all became fire chiefs for the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department. But it would be almost 2 decades after he died that I would discover and take the time to listen to 8 hours of audio where my uncle interviewed our grandfather so he could capture history. And in doing so, I learned something that really affected me. I learned about this whole education thing. My great-great-grandmother was way before us recognizing that education was important. Literacy is important. If you cannot read proficiently at the 3rd grade level, you have an 81% chance of living in poverty. Not until you get out of school, not until you have a job, but for the rest of your life. And my grandmother, while not availed of those statistics, she knew the importance of reading. In fact, to the point that she, when she was caught reading, had a finger cut off, trying to learn how to read. By the time my grandmother died, she was missing 6 fingers. That's the level of determination and commitment that she had to education. And of course, I'm sure she knew someday her kids, grandkids would know that and would honor that in a way that say education is a big deal. And if you put your mind to it, anything is possible. And I cannot tell you how profound that information was to me. First, to hear it in my grandfather's words. Second, to imagine it. And we talk about the price of education today. She paid the ultimate price in many ways as a slave losing her fingers. But I added that to my list of things on my foundation, because when bad things happen or you learn about bad things, I say you cannot let them define you. But if you're smart enough to let them reshape you and make you better and make you more determined, then it was well worth it. So if you fast forward to today, the times that we're in. The Reverend mentioned it, race relations. We have elections on the way. There's a lack of empathy, and put on top of that, this pandemic that we have that doesn't allow your families, my family, to be here today. But I thought about it from a race relations perspective, from a perspective of my grandmother had a dream for us. And we are living, as my niece says, we are living her wildest dreams because we have our education. We didn't have to pay our fingers for it. But I know she knows that we are doing this work. And so I thought about it from a race relations perspective. How do we deal with that? And I personally believe education is still the way forward. When we can give education to students and ask them to go back into the community, then we will all advance the whole discussion that's going on in our nation right now. So in thinking about my grandmother, Dr. Walls mentioned the legacy fund that I set up at Northwest Missouri State. My grandmother said you shouldn't talk about what you do because there are always others doing more. But I have to tell you what a goosebump moment when I told Northwest Missouri State I am donating $1 million to help other Black students. Because when you get into the race relations conversation, all of that angst comes rushing back. And I felt like I could do this in honoring my grandmother, my broader family, and make other people's dreams come true and help them create their own legacies. So when we think about today, the place that we're in, even with that, making what seems impossible possible, we still have a lot of work to do. And if we think about the vision that we have for Kansas City, when I was on the chamber, we spent a lot of time talking about the vision for Kansas City. And we talked about it in the context of we want to have access to education, we want to have healthcare, we want to have transportation, we want to have growth. But most of all, we want community that works for all. And this is my special plea to the graduates. It's interesting as we sit around and design the future. How can we design the future for 2 generations, 3 generations behind us and not include them in that conversation? So I ask that we all work toward this vision that we have for Kansas City of growth that puts us on the national scale of dealing with some of the issues, because when we come together and have the items that I just said, then we have shared prosperity. We have inclusion. I see the flags here about inclusion. So I'm asking that we all work toward that together and be mindful that what we do really does matter. It really does matter. And as we think about the different setbacks that we have in life, let's not think about them as setbacks. Opportunity to do something different, something better, and something more. I will tell you that President Obama left a quote here recently, and it says, no matter what you've done, it isn't enough in this time that we're in. And it's not so much about the money, while we're all happy that we can do that. He said it's really about lending your voice to what matters. And there is no more important time than now. You know, what I talked about when I was 10 years old, this is 5, 10 times fold of that. The Reverend talked about the times that we're in. And so lending our voice to this is what we really need. So I would ask that you combine the critical thinking that you have put to work here at William Jewell, your giving heart, and your voice to make for a much, much better future for us, our kids, our grandkids, and make all those who are looking down today, I hope my grandmother is, saying it was well worth it. So I ask again that you go out and make what seems impossible possible by giving back to others and giving back to your university and the community. That would be my request to a group of young people who I have no doubt whatsoever you can and will get that done. Again, congratulations on an incredible honor to graduate from William Jewell College. And thank you so much for having me back.
Lend your voice to what matters. I'm so grateful to Karen Daniel for lending her voice to us today. And I know you heard her. This is a life-changing moment for all of you, for those who are tuning in, and for each of you who's sitting here today. And what you do with this moment will make all the difference for Kansas City, for our nation, and for our world. Thank you for your inspiring words today, Karen. In keeping with a long-standing tradition at Jewell, the class of 2020 has selected a peer to offer the senior message. This year's speaker is Jeremy Hoffman, who's graduating magna cum laude from the Oxbridge Honors Program. Jeremy's major in Oxbridge Institutions and Policy took him to the University of Oxford Mansfield College, where he studied philosophy, politics, and economics. Never one to back away from a good challenge, though, Jeremy also took on 2 additional majors in economics and applied critical thought and inquiry while at Jewell. He has been an engaged student on campus as a member of Phi Gamma Delta, Student Senate, and Jewell Jazz Band, and off campus, he completed internships in the Jackson County Circuit Court and at Warrior's Best Friend Foundation. Jeremy now lives in St. Louis, where he is a student at Washington University School of Law with a full tuition scholarship. Let's welcome Jeremy Hoffman for the senior message.
Thank you, Dr. McLeod-Walls, for that introduction. And Ms. Daniel, thank you for your remarks this morning. There we are. I want to start by thanking my classmates for choosing me as senior speaker this year. I am really proud to represent our class. As a graduation speaker in 2020, I'm required to point out that this is an unprecedented time, which it's true, but I feel lucky that we still get to enjoy some parts of a traditional Jewell graduation. As Jewell students, we have learned to love all kinds of traditions. Traditions like homecoming. But how about listening to Oxbridgers spend their free time complaining about how little free time they have because of homework? Everyone loves lighting of the quad, but what about that time in January when the prior fellows get back from Outward Bound and tell basically the same stories you heard last year over and over again? And of course, it wouldn't be a Jewell graduation speech without an acknowledgement of our most controversial tradition, Chicken Tender Thursday. The class of 2020 even has some of our own traditions. For example, we're the first Jewell class to have had a woman as our president for all 4 years. So President McLeod-Walls, congrats on earning your BA in college presidency today. We're also the class that got to complain freshman year about having to take a PE class, and then complained since then about the fact that they ended that requirement so other classes don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. for Pilates and feel our pain. And last but not least, we were forced to figure out how to enjoy our last moments at Jewell over Zoom because we are the class of COVID. As I reflect on the last 4 years, it is clear that the class of 2020 is special. So for the next part of my speech, I'd like to do something that I've done many times since starting at Jewell. And that is take something Dr. Armstrong said and use it to make myself seem interesting. At matriculation last year, Dr. Armstrong told the new Jewell students about alumni who have gone on to work in fields that didn't exist when they graduated. He said that is the reality of our world. It changes so quickly that it is impossible to foresee the changes and challenges that await us in the future. And most importantly, he argued that Jewell gives students the skills to succeed in this world of rapid change. And unfortunately, COVID gave us an opportunity to test that theory. When I first reflected on my own ability to adapt to the changes we've experienced since March, it forced me to do something else I did quite a bit since starting at Jewell, and that is question what Dr. Armstrong said, even though I knew he was probably right. Initially, I was disappointed and skeptical when we were forced to leave campus and take classes remotely. But as the semester moved on, I found the change to actually be pretty manageable, and that is because of the skills and resources I acquired during my time at Jewell. First, while I know we've heard the words critical thinking quite a bit these last 4 years, there's a good reason for this. As classes moved online, I watched my professors and classmates quickly adapt to the challenges with creativity and understanding in a way that was probably less natural at other schools, or as I like to call them, the non-critical thinking colleges. These adaptations did not mean that there was no discomfort or unease, but Jewell gave us the resources to deal with that problem too. People at Jewell like to brag about our strong sense of community, and I felt this stronger than ever after we were forced to leave campus. My friends scheduled regular Zoom calls to hang out, play games, and just make sure everyone was doing all right. I also heard a lot more from old friends who graduated years ago, as they wanted to check in on me and see how virtual life at Jewell was going. Ultimately, the community I developed throughout my time at Jewell was my most important resource when dealing with the challenges posed during the past few months. I think it is fair to say that Dr. Armstrong was right. Jewell has given us the tools to succeed in a world of change. Critical thinking to adapt to new challenges, community to comfort and encourage us, and, well, Dr. Armstrong to give us all the answers. These tools will be extremely important as we move on from the Hill, because it is clear that our world will continue to present us with changes. But more importantly, we must make use of these tools to be proactive and enact change, as the causes of justice, equity, and peace in our world depend on it. Overall, based on all that we have been through and accomplished since our first walk around the quad in 2016, I think it is fair to say that our class has much more to be proud of than most other classes. Congratulations to the William Jewell College class of 2020, aka the class of McLeod Walls, aka the class of COVID. I cannot wait to see how you all adapt to and inspire the changes to come. Thank you.
Thank you for that message, Jeremy. And we're going to make sure that Dr. Armstrong watches this video. We're grateful for all the ways that you and your classmates have enriched the Jewell community and already are making a difference in the world. Now, we will proceed with the awarding of degrees. The candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science will be presented by Dr. Ann Dima, Provost. As individual names are called, I invite family members and friends to stand and share in this moment of recognition with their graduate.
Will the members of the class please rise? Dr. McLeod Walls, I have the honor to present the graduating class of 2020. They have completed the required curricula, they have been approved by the faculty, and now I request that you confer upon them and upon those officially excused the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science.
Members of the William Jewell College class of 2020, upon the authority vested in me by the trustees of William Jewell College, established on February 27, 1849 by a charter granted by the legislature and signed by the governor of the sovereign state of Missouri, upon the specific vote of the faculty and in the name of the faculty, and upon your completion of all requirements for your degrees, I hereby confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto, on this 12th day of September, in the year of 2020, and in the 171st year after our founding. Now, graduates, you may move your tassels from the right side to the left side of your mortarboard. Congratulations to the William Jewell graduating class of 2020. Woo-hoo.
The graduates will now proceed to the platform to receive their diplomas. The audience is requested to reserve its applause until the entire group has returned to the graduate section. Though admittedly, I'm not going to be as strict about that
No.
this year. I'd prefer you not. Will the members of the graduating class please be seated, with the exception of those in the first row who will approach the platform. I encourage the audience to follow the reading of names in the printed program, so you will see those members of the class who are graduating with distinguished honors from the college. We are so grateful that you are here today to help us honor our graduates, and we know that your cheers and standing when your special person walks across the stage is your way of showing respect and dignity for everything they have accomplished at William Jewell College and in their life. May graduates receiving the Bachelor of Arts degree are Margot Grace Evilsizer. Jeremy Michael Hoffman. The graduates with the degree Bachelor of Arts, December 2019, Jillian V. Flaherty. Cassidy Cheyenne Troyer. The graduates with the degree Bachelor of Science, December 2019, Ryan Patrick Hyatt. The graduates with the degree Bachelor of Arts, May 2020, Katie Lynn Bird. Haley June Call. Ray Valentino Camarino. Amaya Nicole Clark. Brendan Dean Davison. Christopher Bruce Davison. Tanner Allen DeVore. Alexis Malone Emery. Jenna G. Frazier. Shane Ann Rebecca Frost. Jackson Cooper Gordon. Mackenzie Page Gross. Dakota S. Hayes. Kelly Marie Hendershot. Ryan Michael Hoffman. Meredith Lauren Hauk. Parker Michael Jenkins. Janessa McKenna Johnson. Kylie Nicole Jorgensen. Hannah Elizabeth Keeney. Reed Kelso Kiger. Brittany Nichelle Lattimore. Clayton Mansell. Riley Alexandra Martin. Ian Niklas McBride. Cameron Wade McCassin. Logan Harrison McKinney. Margaret Ann Miles. Cody Joe Myers. Alexis Ann Nelson. Caitlin Elizabeth O'Neill. Michaela Denise Papageorgiou. John Mark Palmer. Kaylee V. Pittman. Megan Elizabeth Rule. Joshua Jordan Rohr. Jesse Philip Rose. Elizabeth Marie Ruark. Kennedy Marie Ruck. Samantha Ann Scher. Christopher Michael Scott Seward. Darcy Elaine Sweet. Karen Bronson Tolbert. Haley Marianne Unruh. Micah Jewell Williams. Kelsey Jenna York. The candidates with the degree Bachelor of Science, May 2020, Madeline Elise Allen. Carly Astolos. Nicholas Terrell Bradley. Connor Austin Carpenter. Isabella Catano. Christian Chalubi. Kaylee Shea Clausen. Paige Elizabeth Cunningham. Valerie Chavez Dunn. Dalton Adrian Dye. Jacob Andrew Erdman. Jessica L. Ferris. Garrison Riley Fields. Hunter K. Forcum. Hayden Russell Folk. Lindsay Elizabeth Glenn. Matthew John Heldorfer. Sarah Emily Lillian Hoover. Olivia Renee Hoseth. Jameson M. Howard. McKenna Nicole Kemp. Emily Joanne Lakin. Jeffrey Stephen Lancaster. Power Lee. Sarah Elizabeth Lewis. Allison Nicole Malott. Lauren Michaela Nichols. Elise Spencer Pape. Charles James Parrish. Caitlin Nicole Patala. Lexi Janelle Stoll. Ashlyn Sutton. Chandler Kent Tennyson. Parker James Turgeon. Alexander Reyes Trinidad. Tanner James Vance. John Marvin Walpole. The graduates with the degree Bachelor of Arts, July 2020, Kendall Fox Gammon. Natalie Hewlett. Terrace Armand Wyatt, Jr. The graduates with the degree Bachelor of Science, July 2020, Jennifer Michelle Crawford. Whitney Elizabeth Hohenschel. Stephanie Marone. Itzel Genesis Quintero. Spencer D. Rui. Melissa Taylor. Whitney Marie Holeman.
I have to tell you, that's the most fun I've had all year. That was wonderful. Congratulations, William Jewell College, class of 2020. It feels so good to say those words. On behalf of the William Jewell College Alumni Association and Board of Governors, I welcome you as members of our alumni. Just as you had mentors along your Jewell journey, it's now your turn to model for current students a life of meaning and purpose. We hope that you will always feel at home on the Hill and that you will return to visit your Jewell family a lot. Now, William Jewell College Board of Trustees Chair Bill Gautreaux will help us with another special recognition that is endemic to our traditions and values at the Critical Thinking College.
Good morning. Continuing our tradition of recognizing those who are aspirational figures for our students and our community, we are proud to honor two giants of innovation and leadership in Kansas City, Dave Cummins and Leo Morton. Beyond the degrees just conferred in commencement, don't want to disappoint anybody, the honorary doctorate is among the highest honors bestowed by the college. This recognition is reserved for individuals who distinguish themselves through professional contributions, but also volunteer service and uphold the mission and values of the college. First, I'd like to introduce Dave Cummins. Dave graduated from Purdue University with degrees in computer and electrical engineering, and then he returned home to Kansas City and began his career at Cerner Corporation. Soon after, he started working in the pits of the Kansas City Board of Trade. When a forward-thinking computer engineer becomes a commodities trader, he has the epiphany to combine those skills to build a trading robot. In 1999, he went to work in his spare bedroom with a $10,000 investment, using computer algorithms to pioneer high-frequency trading. And TradeBot Systems was born. Now TradeBot is one of the biggest high-frequency traders in the world and accounts for up to 5% of the total U.S. stock market volume on a given day. In addition to serving as chair and CEO of TradeBot Systems, Dave created BATS Trading, an electronic trading system which grew to become the second largest platform in the country, competing with NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. BATS was acquired by the Chicago Board Options Exchange in 2017 for approximately $3.2 billion. In 2008, Cummins started TradeBot Ventures to help Kansas City build the next generation of high-growth technology companies. He actively shares his expertise, helping other entrepreneurs with startups and publishing a book, Make the Trade, a behind-the-scenes look at high-frequency trading in the stock market. He also credits Neil Patterson with being a great mentor, and Neil credits Ewing Hoffman. An inductee into the Junior Achievement Greater Kansas City Business Hall of Fame, Dave is a proud Kansas Citian and lifelong member of Platte Woods Methodist Church. He lives in Parkville with his family, and he and his wife Jamie are generous philanthropists through their family foundation with a focus on those born into poverty. They humbly support numerous organizations and people in their home community, including Kansas City Public Television and the developmentally disabled, to name only a few, but also support communities worldwide, such as building and supporting schools in Africa, Haiti, and India. When asked in an interview how he can make the world a better place, Dave responded, "Learn something, build something, and pass it along." Dave, as an entrepreneur, an innovator, and a humanitarian, you've exceeded your own standards. Upon the strength of the qualifications cited, I am pleased to confer upon you, through the authority vested in me by the trustees of William Jewell College, the degree of Doctor of Business, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. In token whereof, we present this diploma and this hood. Congratulations, Dave. Now we would like to recognize Leo Edward Morton. With a mechanical engineering degree from Tuskegee University and a master's degree in management from MIT, Leo has spent 40 years in a number of engineering, manufacturing, and senior leadership positions across the country. Some people have 9 lives. Leo has had 9 careers. From his first job designing turbines in jet engines at General Motors, he moved on to Corning Glass, Bell Laboratories, AT&T Microelectronics, and Aquila, landing in Kansas City along the way. He then took on, at the public pleading of the business community, a very different role as Chancellor of the University of Missouri, Kansas City, for 9 years. Since 2017, Leo has been serving as President and Chief Operating Officer of DeBruce Companies. His involvement outside an executive suite is equally noteworthy, with civic service in Kansas City's Area Development Council and Economic Development Corporation, UMKC Board of Trustees, Union Station, the Marion and Henry Block Family Foundation, American Public Square at Jewell, the Civic Council of Greater Kansas City, the Kansas City Urban Youth Academy, and recently the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. He's received several honors, including the Henry W. Block Human Relations Award, induction in the Greater Kansas City Business Hall of Fame, Lifetime Achievement Award for the Economic Development Corporation, and Kansas Citian of the Year by the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. Leo, this community is grateful your journey led you to Kansas City. We recognize your engineering and leadership contributions, as well as your support of education, economic development, diversity and inclusion, and civic engagement. Upon the strength of the qualifications cited, I am pleased to confer upon you, through the authority vested in me by the trustees of William Jewell College, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. In token whereof, we present this diploma and this hood.
Jewell is blessed to be in a community with remarkable people such as Dave Cummins and Leo Morton to serve as role models for all of you. Thank you to Drs. Morton and Cummins, everyone who's here today, and to those who are watching from home. In just a moment, our graduates and platform party will take part in the formal recessional and will conclude our commencement convocation. But first, please stand as we listen to a 1991 recording of the concert choir singing the alma mater, and feel free to sing along, Cardinals.